since the campaign, you were in the campaign train for a couple of weeks and you went around Nigeria. Having done that and where we are today, what is your perception about Nigeria from the view of that campaign trail?
Nigeria is a beautiful country. Nigeria does not have problem of ethnicity or religion. Nigeria is a very welcoming country. Nigeria is hospitable. We went to the north, we went to the east, we went to the south, we went to the west. And everywhere my principal landed, he was welcomed.
Wow.
By the people, by the rulers, by everybody. All these are fault lines. They are simply the manipulation of the elites to divide the people so that their dishonest and incompetent leadership will be difficult to uproot. Because when you operate on divide and rule, the people will find it difficult to ever unionize and organize to remove them. So I discovered a lot of positive vibes moving around Nigeria. The next thing I discovered is that every Nigerian wants solution to Nigerian problem. Muslims, Christians, North, South, they go to the same market. They face the same problems. Why is it that when it comes to the issue of leadership, they now want to make a difference between us? The price of bread affects the Muslims, affects the Christians, affects everybody. Look at in Nigeria today, the affliction that APC has inflicted on us. For the first time in my life, people are using their own currency to buy their own currency. After desecrating Naira relative to the dollars and the pounds, APC government went ahead to desecrate Naira relative to Naira. They said they want to redesign Naira. And look at what happened. Their own policy. It is still their party that went to court after the people have suffered and was accepting it as a good policy if it will cure corruption. It was still APC that went to court to sabotage it and destroy it. Why? To give them the opportunity to manipulate the election in such a crazy and untoward manner. And that was exactly what they did. You can see the chaos. Now, that chaosity affected everybody. Fuel scarcity. Go to the line. You see Christians, you see Muslims, you see Northerners, you see Southerners. So I discovered when we were going round that the problem affects everybody. I discovered that Nigerians want a genuine salvation from these problems because nobody enjoys suffering. I now discovered that they were genuinely looking for a new set of leaders and leadership. And that was why they welcomed us. And they proved it. When the election came, they voted for us massively. North, south, east, west. We, as a political party, were the only party that got 25% in the whole 6 geopolitical zones, including FCT. If they had allowed our result, we would have won more states than any other party. You know what happened in Rivers? I want to bring the Rivers issue because that one is very, very clear. Because even in their IRF portal, with all the manipulation, everybody saw how they shifted our 80,000 votes and turned it to 3,000. And shifted their 12,000 votes and turned it to 80,000. So the issue here is that we won this election fair and square. That is why the INEC till today, under Professor Mahmood, has entered the Guinness Book of Record. It's the first organization that announced a result. And our party went to them, PDP went to them. Can you give us the result you announced? They said they don't have it. You announced the result.
Yes.
And you told people you don't have the result. We had to go to court to get a court order. Yet they cannot produce the result.
They certified true copies of those results.
Sure. You know why? There was no genuine result anywhere. They don't have it. It took 14 days. So they needed to manipulate the beavers again to know whether it can suit their fabricated result. Because you cannot give what you don't have. So announcing the result presupposes you have the result. The law is very clear in section 62, 2 and 3, that before you collate and announce, you would have a national electronic register of election results, whereby as the result is coming polling unit by polling unit, it is going in there automatically. So you would have it by your side before you collate and announce. Because the law says when they give you any collated result, you must subject, you must verify, you must confirm the correctness and consistency of that result given to you with the one that is in the electronic register. Must. And I'm talking about section 64, subsection 4 and 5. Before you collate and announce, you must subject it. They didn't have it. They pointed out to Mahmood, sir, you're supposed to have this. As a matter of fact, you're supposed to be displaying it for everybody to be seeing, to be comparing. He said no, he would go on. And after that, he will review. He said he will go on. If you don't like it, go to court.
Isn't that the reason why the judge that...
Yeah, just to conclude, he never reviewed. Because when he was saying he will review, he didn't have intention to review. He just wanted to bulldoze, to announce, and then run away. And that's what he did. He announced and ran away. He had to go to court to get an order to vary the judgment of a court, the ruling of a court, that you give us the result you say you have announced. He had to go to court to vary the order for court to give him the power to tamper with the beavers. So the beavers was tampered before he could tell you he has given you the CTC. So you will know the result that is giving you after the beavers has been tampered. But the question is, for 14 days, he was not able to give us result. But when he got the varying order to tamper with the visas, 3 days, they have finished reconfiguring. So what you don't have, you can do within 3 days. What you claim you have for 14 days, you cannot produce it.
You know, when we talk about the reconfiguration of beavers, one of the questions I would want to ask is, do you think it makes any sense that INEC started a process, knew that there's going to be 2 weeks in between, and they failed to build in the period of reconfiguration, bearing in mind that obviously you need to have these documents and data stored somewhere before you even talk about that reconfiguration? Did Labour Party need to go to court before you even get to that point?
They don't even need to build a second. Because I had just told you that the law is that before you even collate and announce, you already have the result. As a matter of fact, the law is that the CTC would have already been ready before you even announce. That's the law. Section 62, subsection 2 and subsection 3 of the Electoral Act. Now, the issue is that it ought to be ready before you announce. But if nobody demanded it before you announce, you're not under any obligation to give the CTC. Why? The IREF portal is there for everybody to view the result even before you announce it. This was not done. So there was no need to build any day for reconfiguration. Because you're talking about 2 weeks gap. Good. If you announce the result today, the presumption by law is that you already have the CTC waiting. That's the law. From section 60 of the Electoral Act to 65, just read it. 60 talked about counting and announcing in the polling unit. It talked about sending the result from the polling unit to the beavers, INEC, IREV portal, and the back end or wherever of the server where they transmit the result. That's 60. Then 62 is saying you maintain national electronic register of election results. Then 64 is telling you don't collate, don't announce, except these things are there so that you compare. And he said when you compare and there is a discrepancy, it is the one that is electronically generated you will use. Now in this case, there was no electronically generated by the side of Professor Mahmood. So what he used was illegal. And you know what the law said? He said it's criminal. Whoever does not obey this law.
Are you saying that in all intents and purposes that Professor Mahmood Yakubu has committed a criminal act?
By the law, as long as he did not follow the law, and he has come out to say there were flaws, and if the law say you did not follow this procedure, you have committed a crime, then you have committed a crime. Now, the people that were there made one mistake. You don't allow any Nigerian citizen to be committing crime in front of you. What you do is to arrest the person and hand the person over to the police. So what Nigerians would have done there by section 39 and section 40 of the Police Act, which gives every Nigerian citizen the right to arrest anybody that is committing crime in his presence. What they would have done is to arrest him and hand him over to the police. You don't allow any public officer to be committing crime and telling you to go to court. No public officer has the right to ever mention that. It is blasphemous. What a public officer is expected to do is to do his work in accordance with the law. And if you question him, he's under a duty to produce the law to you and read it and then tell you this is what I am doing. Then if it is not in order, you will tell him, sir, you are breaking the law, stop. And if he doesn't stop, then you have the right to arrest him and hand him over to the police. So what they would have done is that at that point that Professor Mahmood was doing something against the law, which the law has said is a crime, they ought to have arrested him and handed him over to the police. They don't need warrants. That's what the law says. So this will be the last time in Nigeria any public officer will be committing crime in front of Nigerians and then be daring Nigerians to go to court. No. Nigerians should arrest the person and hand the person over to the police.